Just coming off a three-peat and being on top of the basketball world to suddenly being just another team. They still had a Hall of Fame coach and one of the most consistent players of the 90s, but they didn't have Mike, MJ, Air Jordan, his airness. How are they going to do? What changes would they make? Would they still be considered a championship caliber team? No one knew. They would turn the team over to Scottie Pippen, the Robin to Jordan's Batman. This would be the opportunity Pippen always wanted, to be the guy on his own team. Today, we're going to look at the 1993-1994 season where Pippen will lead the Chicago Bulls. Welcome to NBA Rewind. Everyone knows about Micheal Jordan's brief first retirement and how he took his talents to play for the Birmingham Barons, a AA minor league affiliate of the Chicago White Sox, but do we really know how good the Bulls were led by Scottie Pippen? That wasn't a rhetorical question. I'm sure most of you guys said no, so let me take this time to tell you about it. During the offseason, things seemed to be pretty normal until days before training camp. Micheal Jordan announced his retirement from the game of basketball at 30 years old.
It's time for me to move away from the game of basketball. It's not because I don't love the game. I love the game of basketball, I always will. I just feel that at this particular time in my career, I've reached the pinnacle of my career. I've achieved a lot in that short amount of time, if you want to call it short. But I just feel that I don't have anything else for myself to prove.
Everyone around the world was caught off guard by this decision. Some people thought it was a secret suspension and he was forced to retire, but whatever the case is, that's not what we're here for. Let's focus on how the Bulls will bounce back from this unfortunate loss. Even though the Bulls were without Jordan, they still had a pretty decent roster to surround Pippen with. Plus, having Phil Jackson coaching the team, anything was possible. Still having players such as Steve Kerr, who all of you know is the Warriors head coach, B.J. Armstrong, who made the All-Star team that season, their Croatian sensation Tony Kukoc, solid enforcer Horace Grant, and Bill Cartwright, Bill Wennington, and Luke Longley to man the inside. This team was ready for whatever. To start the season, Pippen missed the Bulls' first 12 games with an ankle injury, resulting in the team's 5-7 start. But once Pippen came back, things started to fall in place. The team won 30 out of the next 35 games heading into the All-Star break. In my opinion, the All-Star game was a huge moment for Scottie. Usually known as Jordan's partner in crime, he came there and let everyone know he deserves some respect on his name. Competing with the NBA's best, Pippen was in attack mode all night, scoring 29 points, 11 rebounds with 4 steals, and he even took home the All-Star game MVP. Playing in the All-Star game was fun and everything, but the Bulls have more important things to worry about. Sorry to interrupt, but I have a fun fact for you guys. This is the same season David Robinson recorded his quadruple double against the Detroit Pistons, making him the 4th player to ever do such thing. He finished with a stat line of 34 points, 10 rebounds, 10 blocks, and 10 assists. Now let's get back to the video.
That face-up jump shot just shoots it right in you.
Not only a triple-double, but now a quadruple-double.
This was Scottie Pippen's best statistical season, but does it make it his best season? He was voted on the All-NBA First Team alongside the All-Defensive First Team. He finished the season with averages of 22 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals, with shooting splits of 49% from the field and 32% from 3. He showed everyone how good he could really be if he had his own team. Not to mention he finished 3rd in MVP voting behind David Robinson and the eventual MVP Hakeem Olajuwon. Once I did my research about this team, a few things stood out to me. I noticed how their points per game and offensive efficiency dropped, and that's the result of playing without Micheal Jordan. They went from averaging 105 points per game the season before to 98 and having the second best offensive rating to the 14th the following season. Yes, they weren't the same offensive team we were used to, but this team's calling was on the defensive end. The season prior, they held teams to 98 points per game, but this season, they got that down to 94 points per game, which was 3rd best in the league. They held teams to 48% shooting and were able to force 16 turnovers a game. If their offense wasn't going to get it done, their defense sure was. For the playoffs, the Bulls were matched up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who had a decent season, finishing 47-35, and who were led by Mark Price that had 17 points and 8 assists. In previous seasons, a big part of that team was Larry Nance Sr., but due to injury, he only played 19 games that season and was forced to sit out and watch that series. The Bulls took care of business and swept the Cavs in 3 games, while Pippen put up 25 points and 10 rebounds in those games. The Bulls' first round series might have been a cakewalk, but their next series versus the Knicks wouldn't be so easy. This would be the 4th straight season these teams would be matched up against each other in the playoffs, and for the Knicks, they would be looking for revenge. The series against the Knicks was definitely worth all the hype. Now that Jordan wasn't playing, this would be the golden opportunity the Knicks needed in order to get over the hump, having their season ended by the Bulls in the past years. The first 2 games the Knicks took at home with 2 very close wins to go back to Chicago with a 2-0 lead. Game 3 was filled with tons of drama, including this brawl between the 2 teams.
Position on Grant. Grant has to commit the foul. That is his second. And now we've got a fight with Harper and English. Look out. Look out. Go into the stand right in front. Look out. We've got everybody. We've got punches thrown. Ewing, Cartwright. It's right in front of us. And now Jackson's into it. Wow. Johnny Baca's into it. Oh, this is ugly. Right in front of the commissioner. Right in front of the commissioner of the NBA, David Stern. And now they're keeping going. Now Riley grabs Harper and is yelling at him.
The ending of this game was pretty interesting. After Patrick Ewing tied the game at 102 with the right hook in the lane, 1.8 was left on the clock. In the years past, Chicago goes into the huddle. Phil Jackson has a no-brainer. You got MJ, you draw something up for him. But things are very different this time around. Instead of drawing up the final play for Scottie, Phil draws one up for Tony Kukoc. Scottie gets extremely pissed and takes himself out of the game. Let's take a look at that final play.
1.8 left, no timeouts left for the Bulls. Myers triggers the inbounds pass. Kukoc for the win!
It looks like Phil Jackson made the correct decision at the end of the game. Let's see what Scottie Pippen had to say.
It wasn't pretty much Phil taking me out of the game. It was like, we exchanged words and I just took a seat.
So it was your decision based on frustration?
Excuse me?
Scottie, Phil just said you weren't in because you asked out of the play.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why you weren't in.
Game 4, Chicago won and even the series at 2 games apiece. Game 5, we have a controversial call that all Bulls fans hate to see. With the Bulls leading by 1 and 2.1 seconds remaining, Hubert Davis was fouled by Scottie Pippen. Everyone on the bench was irate, especially Phil Jackson. Some people think that this call changed the outcome of the series. Whatever the case is, I personally think that that's a call that you do not make and you let play out. Game 6 was the last game played at the Chicago Stadium. The Bulls gave the fans exactly what they wanted before leaving, beating New York 93-79 to push the series to 7 games, including this very disrespectful dunk over Patrick Ewing. If someone dunked on me like that, he'd have to fight me immediately afterwards. I want all the smoke.
Holy cow! Now right there, a lot was said, and Scottie Pippen just went over to tell Spike Lee a few things also, because as Pippen dunked, this was...
I wish I could say the Bulls won Game 7, but they didn't. They lost to the Knicks 87-77, putting a finish to this wonderful season. They proved a lot of people wrong and exceeded all expectations. Scottie proved he is a star in his own right and earned everyone's respect around the league. Let's take a look at what players on that Bulls team thought about the team.
I mean, to this day, I look at that as my favorite team because Michael had retired suddenly just before camp, and Scottie was clearly the leader of that team. He stepped up, and he was the man. He showed that he could be the man.
We had a whole bunch of new guys, and Steve Kerr, myself. No one was expecting a whole lot to happen.
Would have gone to the finals if it wasn't been for a horrible call in New York.
Certainly, we had a great year. I think we exceeded anyone's expectation of what we were going to do minus Michael. And what we all proved to ourselves is that, we could do this. And when Michael came back, I think the confidence of him coming back, plus the fact that we had a year or two without him, I think gave us even greater confidence as a team.
And with that being said, if you're new to the channel, leave a comment, a like, and subscribe. And until next time.